Monday night, October 27, 2025, around 10:09 p.m., a father calls 911. The following confession call to the dispatcher killing his 4 children, including his 18 years old stepson, has sent a shock wave not only through the local communities but also resonating internationally, causing widespread outrage and concerns.
Okay, sir, what's going on?
I killed my children. It's a lot to explain, but in a nutshell, it's all my fault. I'm not even going. It's my fault. It's bad.
The nature of this dark confession includes these 4 children had been murdered or killed in different time zones, month after month, and being put in the trunk of his car in the garage. That is one of the kind that history won't erase it from its pages ever. However, there are so many questions I have in my mind, as I will give you a walkthrough and recap of this case with my own perspective and theories. What made this father to do such horrific crimes? And I sincerely believe many of you would agree with me. I would present to you all these reasons behind this crime statistically. A veteran who have served in Iraq, being well-trained soldier to tackle the most darkest situations during the war. For many of us, they are the bravest, sensitive human beings, but can they also kill their own family in the most horrifying manners? This man called 911 by his own. The guilt didn't let him rest when he finally realized, I have done something terrible. You can feel his guilt while he is telling and giving all the details to the dispatcher about his crime.
Sir?
Yes, ma'am.
How old are the children?
Well, the oldest is my stepson. He's 18.
Okay, and the other one?
And then I got the other one is 10. Yes, that's my oldest son. Then I have a 9-year-old daughter, and I got a 5-year-old daughter. And I have a son here now on my bed. And I'm not even going to try to make it look. Well, I want to bring this up.
Now, I am putting the most important parts from the news reports and would try my best to create a sequence of the details with the references for you all, so we can reach somewhere to understand the utmost possible reasons behind this tragic incident. This is not a small matter, and we can't just ignore it. There must be something truly going on wrong with this man which led him to choose this way. There must be a series of nightmares he had been facing which finally overtook him completely, showed him entirely a different world than the reality he was or he is living in. Yeah, let's do it. May 2025, Wellington Dalino Dickens III kills his 6-year-old daughter Leah Dickens as his first family murder. Remember, this first murder took place in May 2025. And then in August 2025, Wellington Dalino Dickens kills his 9-year-old baby daughter Uzair Dickens, which becomes the second victim, means after 2 months of gap. And then in September 2025, Wellington Dalino Dickens kills his 10-year-old son, who becomes the third victim. And you need to take note or understand the gap between first and second murder was 2 months, but this time from second to third murder gap has been reduced and it's just 1 month or less. And then in September 2025 again, the very same month, Wellington Dalino Dickens kills his 18-year-old fourth child, who was his stepson Sean Brassfield. And if you notice, this gap is now even further reduced from month to few days. Finally, when Dickens called 911, God knows the best, something came up to his mind he might have realized, which he should have before his first murder. His youngest 3-year-old son was alive, and miraculously he did not slay the last baby and called before he could change his mind. Since his first victim to last, all were put in the trunk of his car. Here you also need to take another note of his statement while he made a 911 call, and this is something you can't and you shouldn't ignore it. When the dispatcher asked Wellington, "And what made you want to do that?" he said, quote, "It was really not. It wasn't up to me like I had. God influenced me. That's it."
And what made you want to do this?
It's really not, it wasn't up to me. Like, I had God just influenced me. Like, that's it. It wasn't me, because I got nervous and I didn't do it when I was supposed to. And I was being a coward. And I just was trying to let my children, you know what I'm saying? When that was me, I was supposed to make those decisions. And it just spiraled.
Now, back in my previous uploads, I covered another similar case study when Geraldo Rivera interviewed Joseph Kallinger in 1970s, asking the reason behind killing his own son. Joseph Kallinger also gave exactly the same reason. Geraldo Rivera questioned Kallinger while documenting on video that you murdered your own son, and his answer shocked, saying God whispered him. On the other hand, Kallinger knew taking another life or anyone's life is not permissible, but for him, when he is hallucinating, he would.
When Kallinger's reign of terror ended, 3 were dead, including his 14-year-old son.
You murdered your own son?
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
He was a sacrifice. I was to murder 3 million people on the planet Earth. And he was sacrificed to see if I could murder one of my own. At the end of murdering all the people on Earth, I was going to murder my own family and then take my own life and become God.
These voices from God, these hallucinations, do you still experience them?
Yes, I do.
Often?
Often.
Do you ever feel violent?
Yes, I do.
What do you feel like doing?
Killing people.
You still feel like killing people?
Yes.
Describe the feeling that you get when you feel like killing people.
Well, last March 11th, I was hallucinating, and I took a razor blade and I cut a man's throat.
Here in the hospital?
Here in the hospital.
Do you think you'd murder me, Joe?
Yes.
That's gruesome, Joe. That's horrible.
Yes, it is.
And you don't blame me if I say I hope you never get out of this place.
I hope I never do either.
I will come back to this factor and I will explain why and what I'm relating and why I'm relating Joseph Kallinger with Wellington Dalino Dickens. It is very important to know the roots of the causes, or at least we should try to connect dot to dot life of a suspect, that what series of events turned a normal human being into a monster. 38 years old, Wellington Dalino Dickens got married back in 2015 with Stephanie Dickens. She died on April the 21st of 2024. On that date, deputies arrived on the very same address to assist EMS. 37 years old, Stephanie Ray Johns was found deceased by Wellington Dalino Dickens III. She was 3 months pregnant and had experienced excessive bleeding the night prior, but refused to go to the medical treatment. It was found that Miss Jones died from the complications from a miscarriage, and doctors ruled her death as natural. And this active investigation about his wife's death is very possible of additional charges to be put on Wellington Dalino Dickens. But we will see in the near future. Another point, her death came after 1 year from Wellington's father's died when his car crashed into a box truck in Lee County, North Carolina. Dickens' great uncle Charles Moore spoke with the media, saying Dickens was an Iraq war veteran. A year ago, he saw him and he seemed very fine. Now, his uncle also said he was in the service and he had a problem ever since he came back. So, does the recent multiple deaths played a major role in this crime? According to the National Center of Biotechnology Information, which presented a report about veterans and military mental health issues. According to the report posted on August 17, 2023, in brief, according to the U.S. Cancer Bureau, there are about 18 million veterans and 2.1 million active reserve service members in the U.S. And the U.S. has experienced 2 decades of ongoing warfare, raising concerns about veterans and service members' mental health. The most publicized issues are PTSD and depression, affecting approximately 14 to 16% of the service members deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan. And other significant issues included suicide, traumatic brain injuries, which is TBI, substance use disorder, SUD, and interpersonal violence, which can be equally harmful. These mental health challenges may occur at the various times, especially during combat. In general, military services can also lead to mental health problems. The presentation of these issues does not follow the specific timeline but often peaks during stressful period, which means it is very possible seeing deaths for a continuous time during the war in Iraq. Wellington Dalino Dickens might have deeply embedded tough memories that he couldn't escape, and till this day haunt him to his core. And the recent series of the tragedies caused him to hallucinate, where he eventually got worse and committed this crime. Since September 11, 2001, approximately 2.8 million active duty personnel have been deployed to conflict zones, increasing the veteran populations. Over 6% of the US population has served or is serving in the military. Many families are also affected by military services. I'm putting the complete report link in the description box below the video. This is yet another horrifying or the most tragic loss we have heard, especially knowing the 3 years old would grow up with such memories. At the time of his youth, those would definitely play a major role either way. For now, Wellington Dalino Dickens might face a death row. The damages have already been done, which are impossible to ignore. My question is, according to the Cancer Bureau, there are about 18 million veterans and 2.1 million active reserve service members in the US. And if we talk about globally, those soldiers who have served in wars, are they really leading normal life, or they are another Wellington Dalino Dickens hiding somewhere, or might be suffering from PTSD? And who's gonna check on them and make sure everything is fine with these vets? And another most important point, I don't want to miss it, when we do something wrong in life, no matter we are following orders to make bloodshed or do it in our own, but deep in our hearts, we know this is wrong. Our inner self shakes us, speaks to us, tells us you are doing or you have done terrible things. And depending on the nature of the sin or crime, it starts to point fingers on us. In other words, it is also called guilt. This guilt sometimes takes you and me to those corners where you and I start to look for an escape. And all those pressure turn into hallucinations. Our mind starts to create an entire different world which is also non-existing, but the patient truly sees it and believes in it. And as for result, he starts doing those sins and crimes neither society nor himself forgives. And why I am relating to this Joseph Kallinger, at one point after facing a series of tragic time slots in his life, he started to hallucinate and became a patient of PTSD. He started to see God named Charlie asking him to kill the whole humanity, putting all the blame on God, that God whispered him to kill the humanity. As I got any further updates about Wellington Dalino Dickens, I would surely share with you accordingly. And if you're a fan of the mysterious, true crime, horror stories, movies, recap and reactions, please subscribe or follow me on TikTok, IG, Facebook or YouTube. And thank you so much for listening to my podcast. Your each like, share, comment means a lot to me, and I would do my best to produce meaningful infotainments where at the end of the road we could appreciate life as a gift. And as always, please take care of yourself and your surroundings. I will see you very soon. I am Uzair Sipra. Until next time.